everyone, welcome to Lawyers Have Souls Too. I'm your host Winnie Jean-Pierre, and today's episode is called My Waiting Season. This one is personal. I'll share what it's like to wait for the bar result while dealing with depression, the tears, the weight, the self-doubt. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I was just existing. He never really asked if I was okay. People be like, what's the big deal? You fell by 1 point, just take it again. I'm surrounded by people, but I'm just alone. So instead of asking questions, what I did is I started praying. I got closer to God. I started fasting. This group, this tribe, they really helped me. And once I found them and I was studying, I took the bar and poof. Hi everyone, welcome to Lawyers Have Souls Too. I'm your host Winnie Jean-Pierre, and today's episode is called My Waiting Season. This one is personal. So I am going to talk about what happened after law school, the period between graduation and what I call my breakthrough. I will talk about the tears, the weight, the self-doubt, the prayers that felt unanswered. I'll share what it's like to wait for the bar result while dealing with depression, walking away from a relationship that was not serving me anymore, and getting closer to God. So if you in your waiting season, this one is for you. And if you're questioning whether it's worth it, whether you should continue to fight, I think you would like this one. So come a little closer, grab a friend, and let's get this started. So if you watch the first episode, you know that I talked about growing up in Haiti, coming to the US, getting bullied, facing discrimination, going through being a single mom, going through law school, and being broke. I mean, my mom paid all my bills. She is a nurse, and she literally works 7 days a week, 12 hours a day to support me. And I'm guessing that some of you thought things just took off for me after law school, right? I think that's where we left off. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. I graduated law school early. So I graduated in 2 years and a semester. If you are a law student or if you know anyone in law school, that's pretty good. I was taking 6 classes, and of course, that's because I had a long commute. I was driving 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I didn't want to do that for a long time. So what I did decide to do is just to kind of like spit it up. And I graduated top of my class, which was great. And after graduation, I started to study for the bar. I was focused, I was determined, I was ready to get out there. I was ready to be a licensed attorney. And guess what? COVID happened. Yep. COVID happened. Right before COVID, though, and right before I took the bar for the first time, because I took it more than once, I got into a pretty bad car accident. That was my second one. I had gotten into a car accident my first semester in law school. My car was total, like it was pretty bad. And I got into another car accident maybe a week before I took the bar for the first time. And I remember I was working with a coach, a mentor. Hey, Jocelyn. And she said, Winnie, maybe you shouldn't take the bar. She said, I think that you kind of need to stay and process this. And I said, I've been studying for months, so I'm going to take it. And I did. and I failed by 1 point. And let me tell you, when I was in law school, I heard different stories about people taking the bar and not passing the bar by, one, a couple just being super close and not passing. I didn't think that was me. Heck, I didn't think I was going to fail because, again, I put in so much work. I studied day in and out, and that crushed me. I don't think I've talked about it enough. I think people that are close to me, clearly like my family, specifically my mom and my daughter, they kind of watch me go through this. But I think that, it was really hard for me. I fell into this deep depression. Now, I didn't know it was depression, right? Because I told myself, I'm like, I can't be depressed. Like, I don't have the luxury to be depressed. Like, I just have to figure this out and just push through. But I was depressed. I wasn't sleeping. I think that's when my issues with sleeping started. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I was just existing. I was just there. And that was extremely hard for me. What made it harder is the fact that I was in a relationship with someone who claimed they loved me. They wanted to marry me. I was the love of their life. I was the best thing that ever happened to them. And this entire time, now there's COVID. I failed the bar. I'm in this relationship with this person who didn't care, pretty much, because this was somebody that I was talking to or seeing pretty often. I mean, we talked every day, and he did not notice. He didn't notice that something was wrong. He never really asked if I was okay. I think a lot of people, not just him, a lot of people just expect me to just pick up and just take the bar again. People be like, what's the big deal? You fell by 1 point, just take it again. Now, for those of you who are not attorneys or who don't know, you can only take the bar in February or July. So I failed the February bar and, COVID. And then I had to study again and take it in July. Well, because of COVID, it got canceled. So then I had to wait. Then I had to take it in October. And all this time, I'm going through all of this emotion. There's a lot going on with me. And I'm surrounded by people, but I'm just alone. So that's when I started questioning God. Like, why did you bring me here to just leave me? Like, you got me through high school, college, being a single mom. I was able to graduate college and go to grad school and get 2 masters, get through law school despite everything that was happening. And then now I'm here, I'm taking this test and I'm failing by 1 point. Like, what is this? So I was pretty angry at first, and I was asking God, like, why? Like, what is the point of this? It doesn't even make sense. And someone told me, I heard this somewhere. I don't know if they told me specifically. I felt like they were talking to me, but I heard somewhere that when you pray to God a lot of time and you are expecting an answer and you just don't give him the time to answer because you just keep on going and going. That was me. I don't think I sat down to really hear him answer me and tell me why this was happening. I was just asking why, like a 2-year-old. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I took the bar a second time after studying, and I failed again by 3 points. that's when I was like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. What is going on? So instead of asking questions, what I did is I started praying. I got closer to God. I started fasting, and really just saying like, hey, whatever it is that you're doing, because I don't know what's happening, I'm going to trust you that this is the best thing. And mind you, I was just saying that I don't know if I really did trust, but that's what I said. And in the meantime, everything is going wrong. I found a job and I was excited. I moved. I left my house with a mortgage that I have to pay every month that I couldn't afford to pay. I moved to a new city, got a condo that I was paying for, but then I couldn't even afford to pay for my mortgage. Now I have rent and I have a mortgage that I don't have money to pay for. And because I have this new job, and the thing is, this new job was paying me the same amount of money I was making when I was like 23. I was 30, going on 31 at the time. So I said, God, so why is it that I'm making this? I'm in this low paying job, very stressful. Everybody's working from home. I'm working. I had to show up to work. And everybody else gets to work from home. Why is this happening? And I still can't. So now we're talking about, going through grad school, then law school, and now I'm done. I graduated and I'm still broke. Still can't pay my bills. My mom is still taking care of everything. I'm still driving Uber to just have basic. So obviously, that's not how I picture things, right? I assumed that I was going to graduate and I was going to have this fancy job. I was going to make a lot of money and that I at least would be paying my own bills. But that's not what happened. So, low paying job, boyfriend, future husband, whoever, didn't care. Not passing the bar, dealing with depression. In the meantime, I'm watching people around me, getting what they want or getting what I would want for myself. My friends are passing the bar and I am so grateful. And I always pray to God that I'm never in a position where I'm envious of somebody else's success. So I'm so glad that He kept my heart pure. Because it's hard. It's really hard. When you watch people around you, passing a test or getting something and you're like, God, I work so hard. Why can't you do it for me? Like, what do I have to do? But I remember I have a couple close friends that, passed the bar the second time. A lot of them didn't pass the first time, but some did. But I watch everybody just go and take the bar and pass the bar. And I was there for them. I celebrated them. I was literally happy for them. And I think that was a test. I think that was a test. I think God wanted to see how I was going to react watching other people get their blessing. And I'm so grateful and I'm so proud that I actually celebrated those people. I cheered for them. I supported them. I show up for them while I was going through my own thing. We're talking sleepless night. Like, I would not sleep for days. And I would wake up and I would just function. I would go to work, take care of my child. I would study, take care of everybody else. whether it's family, whether it's friends. Yeah, I, it was, it was different for me, and in terms of that relationship, I was just pouring everything into the relationship while I was dealing with my own depression that this other person didn't know about because they just didn't care to know what was wrong with me. They just assumed that. I remember he used to tell me all the time, like, you're so strong, you got this. I always get the you got this. Like, you got this. Okay, fine, you didn't pass the test, you got this. Oh, fine, you struggling, you got this. You figure it out because you strong, because you. And, I never got the how can I support you? What can I do for you? How do I make this better for you? Do you need anything? I never got that. In the meantime, I was his support system. I was the person he came to when things were falling apart in his world, whether it was personal or professional. And that was hard. That was hard because I'm the type of person that I don't ask something that I'm not willing to give. So if I'm not supporting you, I don't expect you to support me. And all I wanted was for this person to ask me if I was okay, instead of telling me that I got it. I wanted this person to offer some kind of support, some ways. And I didn't get that. And that hurt. It still hurt. So as I was going through this, I kept thinking, God, like, my entire life is falling apart. Quite frankly, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I didn't know how to tell people, like, hey, yes, I graduated, but I still don't have a license. I can't represent you in court. Yes, technically, I have this job, but I'm not making any money. I can't even pay my bills because unless they were in my position or knew people who were in that position, I don't think they would have believed me. And quite frankly, I felt like I did something wrong because I was like, well, why couldn't I pass the bar like everybody else did? And why am I with this person who doesn't care about me, who doesn't support me? And there was just so much. What I failed to realize, though, is that while I was in this waiting season, there were things that were happening, good things that were happening. And it took me a while to realize that, hey, it's not all bad. You actually, it's not all bad. And I don't mean to get super religious here, but this is a testimony. So, and I am big on my faith. This is important to me. And so there you have it. I think, like, when you think of different stories in the Bible of people that had the greatest blessing, they all had to wait, David had to wait. Moses had to wait. Abraham had to wait. Sarah had to wait. Everybody was in this. Joseph had to wait. All these stories about just people waiting and waiting and waiting. Mind you, my waiting season was quite short if you ask me. But it felt like it was a lifetime. A lifetime. I'm waiting to pass this test so I can waiting to find a good job that can pay me where I can actually support myself as an adult. Waiting for this relationship to take off because I was just hearing like all these promises and nothing was happening. Waiting for my turn, waiting for whatever is supposed to happen to happen. And it was not easy. It was not easy at all. So what I did find out is that in that waiting season, God did a lot. Like I said before, a lot of good things happen. For instance, I decided to walk away from that relationship. I mean, after a while, I just realized that, I shouldn't be here. Families are being separated, lives are being disrupted, and it can happen at any moment. If you or someone you love is in the US and is in need of immigration services, I am an experienced immigration attorney, and I am here to help you and guide you through this process. I am here to help you stay in this country legally and with dignity. Please call my office. The number is 863-614-0039 for a confidential consultation. Don't wait until it's too late. This person is not my person. I chose to be with this person for the wrong reason. My main reason was I thought this person was going to create a safe space for me. And that wasn't the case because I never share with him that I was depressed. I never share anything with him. Because he kept telling me that I was strong and that I got it. So I just show up as if I did. And, once, he wasn't around, then I would just break down and cry and do whatever. I remember this moment specifically where I remember I was in my condo and he came over and I was finishing up a session with my therapist. And I remember I was crying, like I was like boo-boo crying. And he stood there and he watched me and he got very uncomfortable. And I remember he went in the next room over and sat there. And once I was done, I remember he came over and he said, "Why are you crying?" And I remember saying, "I'm tired. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. Like, I'm exhausted." And he was like, "What is wrong with you?" And he's like, "You have no reason to be stressed or whatever. Like, you have a job. Your mom is helping you. You only failed the bar by 3 points, so you just have to study." And then he's like, "I don't understand. Like, what is the problem?" And I said, "The problem is you don't understand. That's the problem." And that's when I knew. I knew because he was just asking all the wrong questions. And he was hearing me, but he wasn't listening. And so I walked away from that relationship, and that's somebody that I thought I was going to marry. I thought that he was gonna be, the lucky one, right? Because I've been proposed to several times and never got married. And I said, if this person decide to, and we had talked about it, it's just, again, I said, if this person decided that, he wants to move forward and I passed this bar, then I'm going to move forward. And thank God that I did not pass the bar, because if I did, I would have Whew. So I didn't move forward with the relationship because I was dealing with the depression. I was depressed because I didn't pass the bar. And looking back, I'm glad. And whenever I say that, people look at me crazy. I am so glad that I didn't pass that test. I So God was protecting me, and I just didn't know. As far as my low paying job, I found a great job a great company that I worked for about 4 years because I took that low paying job. Because I took the low paying job because that's the only thing that was available to me. But it opened up my world and my mind to something completely different. Because I was going to look for a job in the legal field. And since I didn't have a license, I kind of had to settle and just get just a regular job. And because I did that, I was able to get a job paying me 6 figures. I got to work from home, and I didn't even have a license yet. I was not a licensed attorney. I think God has a wicked sense of humor, because why? It doesn't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. And I remember while I was working at this job that I had right after law school, I was like searching. I said, okay, I can't pay my bills. Like I make enough to pay maybe 85% of the rent for the condo. And then I couldn't pay my mortgage. You know, we have utilities, we have food, and I have a child that I have to take care of. And my daughter goes to private school. So that's a lot of other bills that I had to cover that I was not able to. And I remember when I came across this other job that was paying me 6 figures, I looked at the requirement and I said, oh, I'm not qualified. They are asking for a whole lot of experience that I didn't have. But God, I applied for the job. I did 4 interviews in 2 days, and I got the offer. I remember the lady, the HR lady telling me, you know, we can only start you here. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is literally twice of what I make, plus a little extra. And she said, you know, this is all that we can offer. She had no idea what she was doing for me at the time. And I had no idea that God had this big gift wrapped up for me. So that was the first breakthrough. No law license, 6-figure job. I get to work from home. I make my own schedule. I am happy with the job. I left that relationship and never looked back, because whatever I thought was going to happen, whatever this person sold me was not even there. Not even. I mean, all the beautiful world, all the promises, everything in my mind, we're going to be a power couple, because he's also, we work in the same field. He's in the legal field. He was very successful. And I thought, hey, you know, this is it. Very mature, at least I thought he was at the time. And I said, this is it. Like, you know, I'm just going to have it all at once. I'm going to have the career, the husband, the family, everything that I wanted all at once. But that's not what happened. So I also found a community. people who share the same faith as me, young Christian women who were fasting and praying. We had a purpose. A lot of us were studying for the bar, and that really helped. We had so much in common where, you know, I didn't have to explain myself. I didn't have to tell them why I'm frustrated that I didn't pass this test. I didn't have to tell them that I was ashamed. I didn't have to tell them that I was angry. I didn't have to tell them that They understood without me saying anything. And that was a blessing. Shout out to Agape, Bar Prep. Hi, Tisha. Because let me tell y'all, this group, this tribe, they really helped me. And once I found them and I was studying, I was fasting, and I was praying, I took the bar and poof, it was so easy. It was so easy. I'm not saying the process wasn't easy. I still had to put in a lot of work. I still had to study. I still had self-doubt. I still had bad days, but going in there and taking that humongous test was so easy. Something that felt so heavy and that seemed to be so difficult at some point, to me was just easy. And I thank God for that. At the time that I was going through it, I didn't think of it that way. I just felt defeated. And so much happened. So much happened. I'm just talking about the big ones, with the relationship, with the job, with everything else. But I lost a lot of friends. I had, people who were my friend because of whatever. And, once I wasn't an attorney fast enough, or I wasn't making money fast enough, these people just kind of vanish. And I also had friends who didn't want to stick around, who didn't just want to be there, who were tired of me complaining, who were tired of me crying every day, who were just tired of just me being so negative, because I didn't have anything positive going on at the time. So I didn't think that I had a reason to be grateful. My waiting season might look different than yours, but I think if you are in a waiting season, you'll find some similarities. And I am here to tell you that there is a reason. I'm here to tell you that whatever you're waiting on or waiting for is going to happen for you in the most unexpected way. It's going to be loud. It's going to be beautiful. You just have to push through. And I'm also here to tell you that when you are in a waiting season, and I'm saying this now because I've experienced it, I know it's hard. I know it looks like it's all bad, but take a second. Close your eyes and just be still and think. What is the reason for this? What is happening in my life right now that is positive? Because if you do, you will find it. You want to know what happened in my life during my waiting season? That was super positive. I lost friends that were not friends. I didn't have to block anybody. I didn't have to stop talking to. They just disappear on their own. I walked away from a relationship that was not serving me, that was not aligned with what God had in stores for me. Because I had so much hope and I believe in that person so much, I probably would have stayed in that relationship. But I was in a position where it was just very clear to me, like, this is not my person. And I walked away from that relationship. I got a great job that was outside of my field. It's not something that I would think of. I would not think to apply to work for this particular company and doing the type of job that I did there. I would not think to apply for that, but I was desperate and I had to make a move because I could not pay my bills. I got close to God because I had nowhere to run to. There's just so much that my mom can do. There's just so much that, the people around me could do for me. I had to go to God. I started praying. I started fasting. I started reading. I started learning. And I found a community of people who truly cared about me, who wanted me to win, who understood me. That was super important. When you find people who understand what you are going through, who understand where you are, it is so much easier. I don't know about you, but I don't like to explain myself. I don't want to explain to you why I'm sad. I don't want to explain to you why this is I'm not too good at that. So, and the other thing is that when it was time for me to when it was my turn, it was beautiful, painless. I remember I went and took the bar and I felt so light. And my aura changed. My energy was different. And I walked out and one of my spiritual fathers came out and he said, "Oh my gosh, you passed the bar." And I said, "How do you know?" He's like, "I can see it in your face. You passed the bar." And he said, "Congratulations, Winnie. I'm so happy for you." And I knew the moment that I walked out that room, I knew that I passed the bar. Now, I had plans to open up my own practice, and I didn't even think it was going to happen the way it did. But guess what? I passed the bar and I opened up my own firm. I had no money saved. I had no clue what I was doing. I had no location, no staff, nothing. And I was able to do that simply because I waited. I waited my turn. Yes, I kick and scream, whatever, but because I waited. And again, it wasn't easy. I'm not here to say, hey, your waiting season is easy. I am here to tell you that there is something beautiful. There is something good that is happening while you wait. And I'm here to tell you not to give up. You might be waiting to get married, waiting to have a child, waiting to get your job, waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for whatever. And it's not easy. I know that. But it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm really trying not to cry here because I'm a crybaby, but I think I'm doing good. I should have kept my glasses on, but anyways. So, waiting isn't punishment, it's preparation. Looking back, when I look at the delay of me not passing the bar, every tear, every closed door, they all shaped me into the woman that I am today. That waiting season was God's classroom to teach me patience, because I am not a patient person. I have zero patience. And now, as an immigration attorney, with everything that's happening now, I am so glad that I have a little bit more patience, because it is not easy. God was also teaching me humility. I think I've been a humble person, but this experience humbled me in ways that I cannot explain, because had I passed the bar exam the first time, I don't think I would have been this type of attorney right now. I would have been a different person. Probably very arrogant, like a lot of attorneys that I see out there. Maybe not as empathetic. Maybe I wouldn't care the way that I do. But I am humbled by this experience. And God was also teaching me how to trust. I do have I have trust issues. And during this process, I learned how to trust God. I learned how to trust myself and my abilities to win. So if you're listening and you still in your own waiting season, remember, you're not behind. You're being built. Okay? There is something to be learned here. Keep showing up. Keep praying. Keep trusting in God and in yourself. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Like I said, this one was personal. If this message spoke to you, share it with a friend. Share it with a colleague. Share it on your page. And don't forget to follow this podcast for more. Until next time, remember, success may fill your resume, but faith, being resilient is what is going to get you there. That's what fills your soul. This was Lawyers of Souls 2. Until next time, take care.